Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I am Mad Capper, and there's another video on Raid Shadow Legends and another in our series of I built them so you don't have to. For those of you who join me on Twitch, especially on the weekends during two-time events, you may or may not know that I strike a bargain with chat. The bargain is simple. You get me to 5-star hype, I build the next champion I pull. That is an epic or better. On voids, it has to be a rare or better, and then obviously on sacreds, it's just an epic or better. And this time is the focus of our current video. It is Grimskin, so without further ado, let's talk about Grimskin. Here is Grimskin. He is a Magic Affinity epic defense-based champion of the Ogren tribes. But before we talk about his kit and stats, let's just talk about the fact that he's clearly not firing on all cylinders. First off, if you look at his hammer, let's take a look here. The hammer has blood on the pointy end, which seems like a good idea, but he's holding it with the blunt end forward, which only leads me to believe that the blood all over his body here is probably self-induced. Further evidenced by the fact that the only difference between him and his twin brother Shatterbones is the seeming tar that he's poured all over his head and feet. Doesn't seem like a very sharp individual, probably not the sharpest tool in the shed, but can he help you in the game? That's what we're about to find out. So his stats. He's got 16, 350 HP, 793 attack, who cares? 1421 defense, pretty good. He's got decent modifiers as well, so that always helps when trying to build out this champion. As you can see here, his speed 99. It's average. 100 is kind of that tipping point from average to good. Crit rate, crit damage is pretty low, so which usually tells me that he's not a hard hitter, but we're going to find out anyway, and I'll show you when I've built him out. Resist 45, a little bit higher than the normal, 0 accuracy. And just so we have an idea of what his multipliers are, his A3 has a multiplier of 3.9, his A2 has a multiplier of 2.8, and his A1 has a 3.4. Of course, his AoE here is an AoE, attacks all enemies, has an 80% chance, buffable to 100% chance, removing one random buff from each target. Not a bad ability, pretty good for an epic, especially the older epics. So this is something that definitely could be useful. Think of it in if you're fighting up against, you know, the Martyrs, the Valks, the Rosh cards, any of those type of levels in Faction Wars. This guy's going to help you out by being able to remove one of those random buffs. And then we take a look at his A2. Attacks one enemy 2 times. Each hit has a 50% chance of placing a provoke debuff for 1 turn. That's bookable to 70%. And then a 40 bookable to 60% chance of placing a provoke debuff on all enemies for 1 turn if the first provoke debuff is placed. Not quite sure why they want to do that. I really think it should be a 100% chance on the first one. Attacks one enemy 2 times. But he does have a 70% chance on each hit. So there's a good chance that that first one's going to go. I don't know how that second piece goes. If he lands it on the first, does he get 2 chances to land provoke, and then a chance to land AoE provoke? We're going to find out. We'll test it and we'll see what happens. But there's a 4-turn bookable to 3-turn cooldown. I forgot to say this is a 4-turn cooldown on his A3. And then his A1 has a 40 bookable to 50% chance of placing a 30% decreased speed debuff for 2 turns. As for how we have our Grimskin kit built out, let's take a look. In my opinion, the greatest thing about defense-based champions is you can build them out for damage if you want to find out what their damage is like without hampering their other skills. And that's what we've tried to do here today. And as you can see, our final tallies here, we've got 36,000 health, we've got 4,600 defense, 187 speed, 216 crit damage, 266 accuracy. We are going to try him in the arena. If you're planning on using his debuffs for the arena, the ability to provoke and the ability to remove buffs, this is something you're going to want to change up. You're probably going to want him for less for damage and more for that pure accuracy. On the flip side, if you're looking for him to do a little bit of damage and then get some of these other abilities as a bonus, then you're going to want to flip that around. The key here is if you're provoking, if you're using him for the provoke, you're going to want him to have a whole lot more HP and probably at least as much defense. One of the things you have to keep in mind is a lot of nukers and attack-based champions in the arena are going to be in Savage gear, going to be in Cruel gear. That's going to ignore defense, which means his high defense is going to not help him on the receiving end of things, even though it'll still help his damage. So err on the side of HP, because effective HP, which is the amount of defense on each point of HP, is reduced by decreased defense and by Savage gear. But if you have more HP, if you just have a ton of HP, then it lessens the impact that those two things have. So just keep that in mind. But for our purposes and for running for dungeons, faction wars and stuff, this is how we built him out. As for his masteries, we went down support. I wanted the accuracy. You could argue defense, but for myself, I want him to go down accuracy. I always like having this when it's a single target A1. And then we went this. This is just for his speed decrease. I don't think either of these are really that impactful. You could argue to go down to Fearsome Presence for that extra chance to provoke if you're using him in the arena to be a provoke champion. Again, that's a big if. If you're using that ability, that A2, as the focal point of your kit on Grimskin, then my suggestion is ignore support. You get your accuracy through banner, through maybe an accuracy chest. Go that route, and then go down to Fearsome Presence to get that extra 5% chance to provoke. So it's up to you. That's my opinion. We are testing him out in dungeons where I think it's a lot less of an issue to land the provoke or die type of thing like it is in arena. And of course, we wanted to see what kind of damage he can do in all areas. So we took a random cooldown. That's always nice. Get that A3 especially to come out. And we went with Helm Smasher to get the extra damage, and then of course this for the first hit. The big pieces we're putting in the puzzle for this. You could argue again, he has an AoE and he has a 2-hit, so I liked Helm Smasher, but you could argue Flawless Execution. And this is especially because he's one of those champions that has a starting of 50% crit damage instead of 60% like attack champions do. So you could argue definitely for Flawless Execution, in which case I would have probably brought it down to here and then here instead of going these two here. So that's, again, your choice. This is the way we've decided to build them up for the tests. Now, let's take him into the Ice Golem to test out his damages. So here we are in the Ice Golem. We have our debuffer, as always, Venus. We've brought in Ethos as our AoE reference point. We've also brought in Phoenix, who has a good AoE and a good point of reference. And then we have, of course, Grimskin. And then for our single targeting, we have our Knight Errant to compare his A2 and A1 with. So let's get into this. We're going to have to do this in stages, similar to the last time I had to do an AoE, just because all three of them will kill and we won't get accurate numbers. So let's get in there. All right, we've slowed this down. Let's take a look at his AoE. Boom, he's hitting for 40, 90, like, oh, there's a debuff missing. All right, so that's 413,000. Keep in mind there was a missing debuff. So now we'll do this. Oh, sorry. So 413,000. We're going to take him out now so that he does not mess with our numbers, because he's faster than the other two. I have him arena tuned currently. Now we're going to go with our AoE here on Phoenix. Boom. I think there's enough health so we can go right after it. And we'll use his AoE as well, just to get in there. Boom. Now let's back out and check numbers. So you look there, and pretty comparable. Actually, Grimskin hitting a little bit harder than Phoenix on his AoE. So that's a pretty good number. I mean, Phoenix has always been known as a big damage dealer. Now, keep in mind, Phoenix's A1 is really where his damage ramps up and what makes him a difference maker for those accounts that are building out Phoenix. But I'm actually pretty satisfied seeing Grimskin there. We have room to grow on his AoE. Now we'll bring Ethos back in. So just so we know, I usually do this before, I'm sorry. He's got 4k attack, just shy of 4k attack, 260 crit damage, 284 accuracy, and 190 speed on Phoenix. We've already seen Grimskin, just so we know. Knight Errant is sitting at just under 4k, 3931, 241 crit damage, 226 accuracy. Keeping in mind, of course, that Knight Errant has that A3 with the bonus damage. And then our reference legendary Ethos, 5311, 253 crit damage, and 229 speed. And so let's take them. Let's go through again, and we're gonna check single hits. Right, we'll test A2 versus A3 here, because obviously, okay. So first we'll get him out of the way. That's an A1. So we'll do his A. This has an attack one enemy. So let's go against here. 76,698, and then this has attacks one enemy 2 times. 30, 60,000. Plus he did land the provoke on 3 of the champions. I guess the A. Okay, so I understood that if that procs, it would either land on all or on not, but it does the check on each one, which I guess makes more sense. I don't know what I was thinking. It makes, of course, obviously a lot more sense that it provoked checks on each one. So he provoked the one here, and then after that second turn, because he did land the provoke, it did a check, and 2 of them actually got provoked, which makes sense. So we'll check the A3 here just to give you a reference point again. His 143, that damage is going to be way harder than everyone else's. But as you can see here, again, very close. Phoenix has a little bit more damage on the A3 than Grimskin. Grimskin, of course, provoking, and Phoenix putting down a slow. Let's go one more time here, and this time we'll check A1s. Okay, again, we already know, but we'll do Ethos here, 78,000. Then we'll go, this is one of the best ones, Phoenix, boom, 50, 60, so 110,000, and then we'll do Grimskin here, 54,000, and Knight Errant, who do you get? You get over here. Boom, 58,000. So very similar numbers, other than obviously you see a big jump for Phoenix. That's why I said that's the difference maker. His A2 is A3, very similar numbers, but the A1 having that block revive plus the 2 hit. Ethos single hit a respectable 80,000, but it's just interesting to show how that Phoenix is that much bigger on that A1. Knight Errant 58, Grimskin 54, very similar numbers there. Knight Errant just edging them out, probably from that extra crit damage. Plus, I wasn't sure if they both hit proc Helm Smasher or not, so that could account for some of the difference. So as far as damage goes, Grimskin is definitely a serviceable champion. So how do we use him? Well, the best way is using him when you need that provoke. You need that ability to lock them down. Plus, a slow is always nice, and removing buffs. And the easiest place to talk about that is probably in the Ogre and Tribe Faction Wars, which we will take him into. But first, let's take him through an Ice Golem run. It seems like a reasonable as any place to take him into. So let's put a team together. We'll remove the legendaries, and we'll put together an all-epic team for the Ice Golem and see if it works out. And see if he does anything extra to help the team run through. Alright, so here's our Ice Golem team. I did say I was going to bring all epics in. We're bringing in blinds here. She's not going to affect the damages and the overall time, I would think. I'm bringing her in because she's got shields, she's got revive, she's got everything we need to sustain, because we're not bringing in a healer. So in lieu of a healer, we're going to bring her in. We're going to see if this works, but we've got some good damage deals. We've got Stagnite for the debuffs. We've got Phoenix and Royal Guard in there, as well as, of course, Grimskin. So let's see how this goes. I have not tried this yet, so we're going to find out. Let's speed it up, get that auto going. And I suspect it shouldn't go too badly, especially with the Royal Guard, which I don't think I have the right one in. Maybe I do. Okay, our hope is that Grimskin does not get that. We really need a Grimskin to... Oh, God, Phoenix took that one in the chin to provoke there. And unfortunately, it was not up, which is a bit of a problem. Which means our Phoenix is probably going to die here. Yeah, then you can bring him up. This is good here, because even though they just got healed, they got that one turn where they've got the block damage that doesn't end until at the end of their turn, and then a perfect turnaround on this. Now, our big hope here, of course, is that Phoenix uses his ability when it is up. No, don't. Oh, God, Royal Guard, you break my heart. Okay, so hopefully on the other champion here. Nope, that's not going to happen. That's actually not bad, though, because that killed both of them. What we need now is... Boom, good. The decreased speed is always nice, too, by the way. Just don't kill him. Landed and provoke. And then if Phoenix goes, we should be able to block revive there. Good. So that's one block revive down. This is actually not going to be too bad to run, considering we're not using any bomb explosions or any type of that technique. This is looking pretty good. It would be really nice. Yeah, that was actually pretty good timing. Unfortunately, Royal Guard dies, but that's why we bring in Blind Seer. I think we've got one more of those AoE revives, so just for safety's sake, if Phoenix could just... Nope, he's going right for the boss like an idiot. Could have had it there. That's okay. They should just go right for the boss now. See, that decreased turn meter and decreased speed actually works really well in this. This makes him a really good champion for this. A 2-minute run is not bad, honestly, for this sort of team. We don't have any of the big nuking Septimus strat or a Seer strat here, or of course a bomb explosion at Lanero. I've never tried it with her, but I assume it'll work. So very nice overall. I think a lot of people in the world would just take a 2-minute time and be happy with it. So I like him. I like him in this. He did good damage. It wasn't crazy. He didn't do as much as Phoenix or of course Royal Guard, but very serviceable. Because I really want to see... Magic Affinity is nice because you can use it across multiple areas. So we're going to actually take him into another dungeon here. I'm not going to use him in Fire Knight, obvious reasons, but we're going to take him into Dragon and see what it does in that one as well. Okay, so here is our Dragon 20 team we're going to use with Grimskin. We've taken out Phoenix, we put in Alika, we've taken out Stag Knight, and we've put in Madame Saris. Should offer us pretty comparable times. Oof. You know, for 700 plus accuracy to not land 2 buffs, should buy a lottery ticket. Boom, 13 seconds. Nice starting numbers. Okay, that was his A1. That's unfortunate. Man, Alika hits hard. I haven't seen him use his taunt. 53 seconds to the boss. I worry about my turn order here, but hopefully we get... Okay, there's a decreased defense and attack. Feel free. There's the takedown. Boom, you see all the blocks, which is nice. That's one of the great things. Blind Seer is such a versatile champion. You can use her anywhere. She's plug and play. Oh, wow. Resisted. Can I get 800 There should be a point in accuracy where it can no longer resist. My Royal Guard with a sub 200 accuracy just outdid my Madame Ceres with a 700 plus accuracy. There is something fundamentally wrong with that. But again, we should be a close to 2-minute, which is exactly what we had on the last one. So let's see if we can just... anyone want to finish him up? No, you just want to do that. That's good. There we go. 158. Again, sub 2-minute. Pretty good. Subs 2 Blind Seer for a Gorgrab. You might get some deaths. Apothecary for some heals, those sort of things. But again, reasonable fighting. So the final thing we're going to do is, we're going to do 2 things. We're going to put him in Faction Wars, and of course we're going to put him in the arena. So let's go to the arena, see what he can do, have a little fun there, and then we'll finish up with Faction Wars. All right, let's have some arena fun. We're going to actually bring him in as our primary damage dealer and see if we can do that. I think we're at the part of the week. We're on Monday, so this shouldn't be an overly difficult team to fight, but nonetheless, just want to make sure we'll just give every opportunity just in case he can't do it. We're going to go with that A3. Now remember, his A3 has a chance of removing debuffs. They don't currently have any. I hit 2 of them pretty well. Almost killed a third. Obviously, a weak hit there against the rosin, but otherwise not too bad a hit. He uses a 2 here. He's got 2 hits. Boom, boom. Weak hit one of them, but still, I would say definitely this is a champion you can use. I don't know if I can beat him. I don't know. Let's try it. Well, I mean, I know I can beat him. That sounded rude. Let's do this. Let's see how fast his old. Oh my god, he's so slow. So slow. Do you even know what speed is? Oh, this is gonna be a mess. Alright, well, they got revived. We don't want him to go. Oh god, weak hit. Don't let her go. Get a little fear proc there. Oh. He's even got a good death animation, I'll give him that. Oh. Those counterattacks doing work. Oh, look at this. Look at this. Grimskin. Grimskin versus Chosen. Grimskin wins. Oh. Yike. Wow. Might get a little chat about that. Oh. Let's do this. This is not a team I would fight with this team, obviously. It's a little bit scary, but we're going to try it. I just want to get the opportunity to use that removal of buffs here. So what we're going to do is we're going to run as normal because I don't want these guys to be able to hit me too hard. But we'll do an ally protect instead here. That's going to give her the chance to go. So we're going to try to provoke there. And it didn't get her, so that's good. That's what we want. We want her to get these up here. And we want it so we can give a chance for that A3 to work. They're all debuffed anyway, so just hit. Now this one random buff, so let's see how that goes. Most of them resisted, to be honest. She died and had to be revived. Yeah, I'd have to. This is a pretty good team, so I guess I would have to actually. I'll get these two at least. I really wish I could block him from even going. Oof. Oof. Probably not the best primary damage dealer at this level, but I'm actually impressed I'm in this game given what I'm up against here. This is gonna be a weak affinity, but if he does hit, not bad. Boom, we won. That was pretty impressive. So, I mean, that just makes me giggle. I think we would need to really queue up his ability to remove random buff. So we've taken our Grimskin and we've switched him up slightly, and I'm just trying to figure out where I find his use in the arena. Now, obviously not a late game arena champion, but I think he's a usable champion in the arena. Now, we showed how he can do damage in the arena, but I want to, like, this is more what you would probably use him for. I think in the early game, you get a Grimskin, you put some defense on him, you get him as much crit rate as you can, as much crit damage as you can, and you're probably going to have fun with him. But there'll be a point where you have to transition him, and this is what we're trying to do. Here we go. 2 scenarios where I see Grimskin useful. One is immunity gear. Now, I have fought so many matches, I can't find immunity gear out there. It doesn't exist at this level. No one uses immunity. To be fair, I'm not using immunity gear either. But here is a scenario where he will be useful. Come in, there's no immunity, that's fine. We're just going to try to provoke. Didn't happen, no big deal. We're going to debuff. We're going to hit. All right, now here's a, we've got this, but this ability removes the buff prior to hitting. So it's a really nice thing against Swift Parry and against, Skull Crowns. It's a niche, for sure, but I think there's a lot of people who don't have cleansing champions. And this will give them a scenario where they have a cleansing champion. So for early to mid game, there's a perfect example of how you can use him in the arena with his A3, right? You come in, if there's immunity gear, you strip it first using his ability, and then after the fact, you have your Stag Knight or your Tyrell or whoever you're using as your AoE, your Venus, for example. You're using one of those champions to debuff, and then your nuker. If there's no immunity gear on, save that A3, go for the taunt as A2, then debuff, nuke, and if there's anyone left with abilities, he will strip, then he will attack. So that gives you a chance to remove those champions that might be sitting on Swift Parry gear or a Skull Crown who will have that up. So as long as you're speed tuned properly, that is a way that this will definitely work for you. So you keep that in consideration. There's kind of two ways then to build Grimskin. You saw how we originally built him. He can do good damage. He can get you through dungeons very well. He's helpful and useful, I think, in the early to mid game. Arena, you're going to probably want to use him more for his A2, A3 combination. So you want more HP than probably even I put on there, tankier. What I was trying to do is just give him more accuracy, more speed, and make sure that he was a good counter for Swift Parry, immunity, and Skull Crowns. So that ability to strip and then do damage so that you're killing the champion and removing and debuffing them. Specifically if you don't have cleansers. So there we go. Finally, we will insert, hopefully, Faction Wars. I know I've said it a lot of times. It's actually open in 2 days. I won't be in the city. So I'm going to try to record a couple Faction Wars with him in on my phone. If that works, we'll splice it in. If it doesn't, I apologize. Just imagine him in your head against Ogre and Tribe. So that's what I have. Let's go talk about our final thoughts on Grimskin. my final thoughts on Grimskin, I gotta be honest with you, I'm pleasantly surprised. I kind of thought he was garbage. I kind of thought he was hot trash. And frankly, he's not. Frankly, I see a home for him in a lot of teams. A lot of teams and a lot of people that I've helped, free-to-play accounts especially, that are probably sitting on Grimskin without any need because the guy just poured tar on his head. He's literally Shatterbones with tar on his head. But the flip side is he can hit hard. He's got a kit that's helpful in many areas of the game. You can build him up for damage. A defense champion that can do some damage is always a good thing. And you can bring him in. You can help do more damage, faction wars, dungeons, etc. On the flip side, you flip it over and you say, I want to use him in the arena now. Well, now you no longer need him in dungeons. You retool him. You give him fearsome presence for that A2. And then you have a counter if you don't have cleanse. And you have a counter for immunity. And you have a counter for Swift Parry / Skull Crown. And I love it. So you saw how we did it in that last scenario, right? You come in, if they had immunity gear, you use as A3, you cleanse the immunity gear, then your debuffer can debuff without having to worry about it, immunity gear being in the way. And then your nuker nukes all as well. The flip side doesn't work for you, fine. Well, then you no immunity gear, you use your A2, you taunt the enemy, then you debuff them, then you nuke them. Swift Parry procs. He comes around with his A3, and he hits with his A3, clears the Swift Parry, kills the champions. Both scenarios work really well. I think it's really good synergy. Anyone who doesn't have a cleanser, I think this champion is at least worth taking a look at. He's not going to be good against multi-buff champions. Not going to be a good Duchess, Siphi, Mausoleum Mage, those sort of champions. He's not going to do well versus them. And forget affinity. It has nothing to do with affinity. It has strictly to do with it's only one random buff. And that's a way too much RNG. But, immunity gear is only one buff. And Swift Parry is only one buff. And here's a champion that can absolutely take care of that for you. So those are my thoughts on Grimskin. I don't have any suggestions for his kit, to be perfectly honest with you. In a perfect world, this would be 3 turns. And this would be... I would really like this to be places a provoke on one champion and then has a 40 bookable to 60% chance of placing the debuff on all enemies. Also, this is worded a little bit wrong because from what we were testing, it's actually each champion has an individual check. To me, it seems like if you land the first one, then it has a 60% chance of landing it on all or none, but that's not what actually happened in practice. It seemed to check on each individual champion, which is a totally different scenario, right? Nonetheless, just knowing that's important, but they could probably redo the wording just to make that a little bit more clear. Nonetheless, I think he's a buildable champion. I think for many free-to-play low spend, early to mid-game, this is a champion that's going to help you progress. He's going to be able to do damage for you, especially Ice Golem, Dragon, where he's neutral and strong affinity. Spiders, he does have an AoE. He does have a slow and a turn meter piece on his A1. So this is, or the decreased speed, is okay in a pinch. But these aren't really what you're looking for against a spider, but definitely for the Ice Golem and Dragon, he will help you. Faction Wars, 100% helpful. Hopefully I got that in. I was actually on the road filming it. If I did get it in, if I didn't, it's because it didn't work, because it was going to be on my phone. So cross our fingers here that also you just watched him in Faction Wars. Nonetheless, overall, I say build them, have fun with them, use them in the early to mid game, switch them out to arena as you progress into and need that sort of champion in arena, and surprised, and I'm happily surprised, which doesn't happen often. This is like the exact opposite of Adriel, really. If Adriel is the high hopes gone to shit, this is the no hopes gone to pleasantly surprised. Those are my thoughts. What are your thoughts? Leave them in the description down below. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, notify to help me with the YouTube algorithm, grow this channel. We've been doing great so far since the beginning of the year. We hit 2,000 subs. It seems like it's only been a couple months, but we're already approaching 3,000. At 5,000, we'll do a big celebration. I'll give away J-Gig's virginity or something. I don't know. We'll do something special. We'll figure out what it is. Sidebar, J-Gigs. We'll talk. That's all I have for you today. I want to thank you for joining me on the channel. Most importantly, everybody, please stay safe, practice social distancing, be kind to one another, and we'll see you in the next video.